video I'm going to show you how to do the wall brackets and the base plate for the golden nugget towers. So in this case I'm going to be only doing one section of tower because the building here is quite short. The first thing you want to do is sort of put the tower up and just see what it's going to look like. The landowner doesn't want it at the very peak. They wanted to have it slightly to the offside because they're going to plan to do something on the other side there. So we're going to put it somewhere around here, and as you can see, the one section is tall enough to reach the top. So we know that that's good enough for height. Now we need to cite how far we want it from the building. So to cite it how far you want it from the building takes a couple steps. First, you're going to attach the brackets onto the tower. So just looking at this, we know that the brackets are going to have to be close to the top of the tower. So we can take these, lean the tower back down. Then here are the brackets. Brackets are going to go on the side, somewhat like that. So as you can see from the instructions, we have these brackets. We have U-bolts, and we have these galvanized plates that the U-bolts are going to be using. And you can see that the U-bolts are sort of facing in alternate directions, with the top side pointing towards the inside of the tower. So you're going to notice that they don't really want to fit that way very well. It's going to be quite tight when you get them in there, and that's normal because once you have it all set, it's going to be very snug. So we got the one side here, other there, and then we got a bunch of nuts and lock washers that we're going to use. Just notice that you'll have two nuts and lock washers that are a bit bigger than the rest. These are going to be for these two bolts, so keep those aside for now. And you're going to use the other lock washers and nuts. So just like we did before, we're going to put the plate on, then the lock washers, and then the nut. But instead of tightening it finger tight, we're going to keep them all the way loose. So that allows us to put the second U-bolt on. Otherwise it's going to be basically impossible. It can be quite a struggle to get these on. So what's a helpful tip is to, when you have the other one on, you want to push this end down to make this end go up, and that will make this go on a fair bit easier. Once you have the one on, you're going to stick the other one on there on the other side, either above or below it, depending on the direction of the roof. So in this case, the roof is going to be angled like this for us. So I'm going to put this one below the other one. And it's going to go just sort of like that. So with the other one on, it's a little tricky. So it's basically just going to be like that. So once you have the arms on, you can re-sight the tower, make sure that the arms sort of reach the peak. You'll notice that the lower arm's a little bit lower than the top arm. And that's because of the angle of the peak. And you can see that right here. You put it in place there. You're going to want to make it so that those arms are close to the edge of the peak so that you're going to be bolting into the fascia. Make sure that's all straight. And then you can sight where you're going to put their base plate. I like to just jam it into the ground, pull that out. And then you can start working on your base plate. So once you've placed your base plate, you can move the tower out of the way. Now you know where you're going to put it. Put your base plate so that the plate is parallel with the wall. You can see this side here, you want it to be parallel with the wall as much as possible. You're going to take these driving stakes here, and with the sledgehammer, you're going to drive them into these holes here at 45-degree angles. Now that the stakes are in, it should look something like this. They're all at different angles from each other. The plate is a little wobbly, but it's not going to lift up at all. That's the main point. You don't want it to lift up. At this point, you can stick the mast in, tighten down these bolts so that the mast doesn't slide up and down. You don't need to tighten up the lower bolts. There's not going to be any weight on it for now. And then you can raise the tower and attach it to the base plate. All right, with a friend helping you, you're going to want to stick these bolts into place. Now the bolt holes in the base of the tower aren't going to line up when it's sitting right on the base like that. So you're going to have to get that helper to raise the tower slightly. So I like to insert the bolts from the outside in so that there's nothing that you can catch on. So let's lift it up a little. Now lower down. It takes a little bit of finagling to get that working. So. Alright, so now we have that. I want to get the lock washer on first. You're going to need to squeeze this together with your hand to get the nut on. Finger tight is okay for now. So once you have the tower bolted down, you want to check your levelness of the tower. So you see here, you can use a level or a clinometer on your phone, but at this point it's pretty tight. It's pretty close to the edge there. But it's going to work. You want to check this angle too, make sure that's level. And then you're going to want to stick a board or a piece of angle iron that's the length of that will fit between those two pieces so that you can bolt it into that. So first you're going to bolt that board or angle iron into the fascia, and then you're going to bolt it to these brackets, these wall brackets. So once you get the angle iron or board attached to the fascia, you're going to have these lag bolts right to do that. You want to re-measure your tower angles, make sure that it's as straight as you can get it while getting to both arms as close as you can. Mark where you're going to place those arms, and then you're going to attach these L brackets to the arms just so that they fit. So here we want to attach it sort of like this. I'm going to have to drill a hole through that angle iron to bolt it onto the angle iron, but first I'm going to bolt it onto these arms. And you can loosen these bolts here to make those arms adjustable and fit them in place.